Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Roydell Clarke. Welcome back to the Roydell Clarke channel. In this video, we are talking about what it means. What is the soloist community, right? And I've kind of introduced it in some of my other Soloist Project playlist, but I just want to take 2 minutes here, 3 minutes to answer the question a bit more directly on what the soloist community is. Long time ago, um, about 7 years ago, I made a post on Facebook saying I would want to support people's passions and interests, and for them to send me what it is that they are interested in, and I'd like to support it in ways that I can. And so I was expecting to get about 7 or 8 people. The reason why is because I played university basketball. I started to share my poetry, and people thought I was insane. They thought there was something that was wrong with me. I had people messaging me, which is good because they're showing they cared. But they thought, are you okay? I was off my rocker. Like mentally, I was unstable. Really, I was just wanting to share my passion, which I've had for quite a long time now, is the poetry, the art of words. And that just was so contradictory to what they thought I was as someone who played basketball and was pretty good at the sports I played. And so in sharing my poetry, I realized how hard it was for me to do that. I ended up creating this post that I told you about, and I thought I'd get, 8 or 10 people that had reached out. What had happened was over 100 people had reached out, messaging me their troll, talking about the box of troll dolls that they have in their basement, the blog of articles that they have that they regret not sharing, even though that these are fairly successful individuals. I had a range of people, ranging from all different demographics and walks of life. Some people that you would look at and say they have it all, but they were missing that sort of 20%. You could say they had the 80, but that 20% of passion and interest and the things that they really wanted to do, they weren't really sharing it. And so at that point, I felt uniquely qualified. I saw a problem and I felt uniquely qualified to fix it. However, I felt underqualified in the way that I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the skill myself to really help these people at scale, right? I could have helped one, two, three, or four or five people for sure. But at the scale in which, I'd received this information, I was not in I didn't have what I needed to help all the people that I wanted to help. So this is what embarked me on the journey of creating this community, right? And so I always use the example. I always think of this example. I don't always use it, but I always think of this example of imagine there's a road, right? And I think kind of Walking Dead. You see all these people walking on this long highway road, and there's trees on both sides. And a couple of us were just walking endlessly. And some of us decided, you know what, let's just see what's in the forest. So we go into the forest and we're doing our own thing. The soloist individual community being together, right? The paradox of soloist community comes into play here, where I go into the forest and now I need to survive. I need to cook, eat. I need to find shelter. I need to, do all of these different things. But as I'm doing this, some things I excel in than others. I have I'm better able to catch food, but creating shelter is not necessarily my strong suit. But what happens is anyone who's on this path who has gone into the forest, they if you stay there long enough, what happens is you see somebody else. You hear ruffling in the bushes and you see somebody else. And you're like, wait, that's another person. Somebody else that had the same idea as me, and they're doing all the same things that I'm doing for myself. So what happens if and this kind of this sparked the idea of what if, even though we're not doing the same thing, even though our reasons for coming in are different, what if we can come together? And this is what happens in a lot of entrepreneurial ventures is that they go off by themselves and they have to separate themselves from everybody that's around them. They have to most of the time go against the grain of what is normal around them in order to embark on this journey. But there's a lot of us that have done that, who are in the forest, who have different affinities and skills. What if there was a way to connect us all? And even though we're not doing the same thing, and this is the difference, this is the what I believe is part of the unique value proposition. It's not uniting on the fact that we're all fishermen or all contractors, or we're all lumberjacks, in to keep with the example a bit more. No, it's uniting on the fact of why we left to begin with, on the why. If you unite on the why, we can support each other without having done the same thing. And so this is kind of the philosophy and the spirit behind where the soloist community is coming from. So in recent years, I've embarked on developing my tool set to be able to show people the process. But in order to show people the process while doing the process requires a whole different gear that, the 22-year-old me didn't necessarily have, especially when you're still trying to finish school and have social life and do all these different stuff. So that's the spirit behind the soloist community. Eventually, I would hope that the community would help me build out the rest of the infrastructure, but I need to man a lot of the work up front, and creating this video is definitely part of that process. So that's what I would like to say about that at this point in time. Thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.